It is Friday, 9th February. Thank God it's Friday. Good morning. This is Mervyn Hanley with THG News Today. THG News Today, of course, is brought to you the kind compliments of Carl & Sons on St. Maarten. Let us hear from Carl & Sons and we will be right back with the news.
Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Maarten for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are two locations, Coal Bay and on the Punfill. In Coal Bay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Punfill, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Coal Bay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you.
We're back with the news, and of course, we begin with the biggest news item, what the entire region is speaking about this morning, and I am still trying to wrap my head around it. The verdict of former Premier of the British Virgin Islands, Andrew Fahie. I don't know about you guys, but this thing went by quickly, pretty quickly. It's like I wasn't even expecting a verdict yesterday. I think that the former premier, up until Olivine Maynard testified on Wednesday, I believe it was, I think that did it for the jury. Before that, it was more of evidence pointing how this was a complete setup. Fahie was set up, he was baited, and yes, he may have been foolish to do such a thing, very stupid, and now he's going to pay the time. But what I think happened Wednesday was when his own partner, quote unquote, in crime, Olivine Maynard, she testified against him. She turned on him. She was the star witness for the prosecuting team. The things that she was saying and the evidence that the prosecutors had and all of that, I believe that is when the jury made up their minds. And that is why they came back just under 4 hours of deliberation, and they came back with a guilty verdict in all counts. So after a 2-week trial, it didn't even feel like 2 weeks, a 12-person federal jury in Miami rendered a guilty verdict against former British Virgin Islands Premier Andrew Fahie. And I'm reading from a release from the JTV local media outlet there in Tortola. Fahie, its charges of conspiring to import cocaine into the United States, in addition to 3 associated counts of money laundering and racketeering. The jurors deliberated for a mere 4 hours before arriving at their decision regarding the fate of Mr. Fahie. The maximum sentence for the cocaine conspiracy charge is life, Jesus, or fines up to $10 million. On the charge of conspiracy to engage in money laundering, he faces a maximum of 20 years in jail, a maximum of 20 years imprisonment on the attempted money laundering charge. And for the foreign travel in aid of racketeering charge, he faces up to 5 years in prison. They threw the entire book at Mr. Fahie. Well, we'll find out how much that book was thrown on April when they have the sentencing date, April 29th. The former premier's journey from the corridors of power to the confines of a courtroom has been nothing short of an extraordinary one. And for Mr. Fahie, whose political career once seemed destined for greater heights, the verdict represents a stunning reversal of fortune. In other words, a fall from grace. A former math teacher turned lawmaker, he ascended to prominence as the representative for District 1 in 1999, a position he held steadfastly for 23 years. Throughout his tenure, he wielded significant influence, serving in various ministerial capacities, and ultimately assuming leadership of the Virgin Islands Party. Mr. Fahie led the VIP to victory in the 2019 general election, and his ascent to power was met with both acclaim and scrutiny, reflecting the complex dynamics of Caribbean politics. The locals, they loved Premier Fahie when he was premier. The British, they couldn't stand him because he always stood up to the British. On the right side, on the wrong side, he always stood up to the British. And they couldn't stand that. And from day one, he used to always say, even at his press conferences, and even in private conversations, and even in public consultations, he used to always say that the British is out to get him. But you know the thing about that, though, Mr. Fahie, I know you can't hear me right now because you're in a 2x4 cell. But the thing is, you knew all of this. You knew that the British was after you. You knew that they were watching you. You knew that they were just tailing you. And you just fell in the trap just like that. You just took the bait. Playing police? Playing undercover agent yourself? Man, I don't know. So now we wait for the sentencing on April 29th, where he can possibly face life in prison. On to our next story, shall we? Recent crime alerts and extensive international media coverage over Bahamas' crime wave have caused some buyers to have second thoughts, according to the Bahamas Real Estate Association's president. Nikki Boff told Eyewitness News, yes, unfortunately, we had several agents indicate that buyers and or renters who had already started the process of purchasing the property or those with plans to come in to stay on the island for an expedited period of time changed their minds, plans due to the negative publicity regarding the crime on social media or in the press. They consequently decided to make investments in alternate destinations or cancel their travel plans. The spate of crimes in the country has received extensive media coverage in the country's key source market for tourists, having been featured on major television networks and newspapers. The United States and Canada recently issued a travel advisory on the Bahamas, warning its citizens of the spike in murders. The country has recorded 25 murders to date. And this is unfortunate, and this is what happens when there's an upsurge of crime in a country. Yesterday, we reported about the crime in the Bahamas, and I was very disappointed in the statement made by the Deputy Prime Minister of the Bahamas, because he called the crime situation on the island, oh, it's just an isolated incident. And that really pissed me off. Isolated incident, and here we have now that this president of the Bahamas Real Estate Association, she's saying, no, it's not an isolated incident because people now are refusing to buy. They've changed their minds. They're either not coming anymore or they have decided to look at another island or another destination for possible investments and vacation. And yes, Bahamas still have millions of tourists per year. But, if this continues, it can have a dramatic effect on the country. Okay, so now let's move on to regional travel. Persons looking to travel between Barbados and Jamaica no longer have to wait or to take a roundabout journey to do so. You don't have to go around the globe just to get to Jamaica. That's because a 3-hour direct flight has now been introduced by Inter Caribbean Airlines, and it's been seen as a bridge which will better facilitate business and cultural exchanges. Here is Wendy Burke for you.
A wonderful spirit of partnership. That's how Minister of Foreign Affairs Carrie Symonds describes the direct connection between Barbados and Jamaica. The inaugural flight landed this afternoon at the Grantley Adams International Airport to much fanfare and an official welcoming party. The flight took 2 hours and 25 minutes today, with Captain Johan Smith at the controls. Mr. Symonds says the timing is great because it will bring the region together in several ways.
For a period of time of 3 hours, we can now have a direct flight connecting Barbados to Jamaica. Above and beyond that, the connection to Havana, Cuba, is also virtually immediate once you get to Jamaica. Empowering our people, an empowering impulse for our business community, now to unleash its potential in a relationship with Cuba, who has been nothing but good to those of us in the Southern Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean as a whole, as a partner again during COVID. This thing makes wonderful good sense. But our challenge has always been, how do we unleash the potential? Chairman, you have come to the rescue at the right time.
Inter Caribbean is celebrating 32 years of service this year, and Chairman Lyndon Gardner says they've made history with a non-stop flight.
This direct service will unite families, friends, businesses, and education, and support great opportunities between the islands. At Inter Caribbean, our goal has always been to advance regional travel. The new flight provides unmatched convenience, comfort, and speed between Barbados and Jamaica. It also unlocks new one-stop connections to Jamaica from Antigua, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, St. Kitts, Guyana, and Grenada.
Acting Chief Executive Officer of the BTMI, Craig Hines, says the flight benefits both countries as it opens the doors for several growth opportunities.
We are pleased of this announcement to have a direct service between Jamaica and Barbados, serviced by their CRJ 700 70-seater 3 times weekly. As we welcome this new route, we are stepping into a chapter filled with opportunities of growth in areas such as leisure tourism, culture and sports, business travel, and economic development.
For its 32nd anniversary, the airline is doing a sale for 32 hours beginning at midnight tonight. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Thank you, Ms. Burke, for that excellent reporting. And finally in the news this morning, following the publication of an ad from the United Nations Office of Project Services, UNOPS, inviting companies to register for a February 16th workshop regarding a new prison facility in Point Blanche, of course, on St. Maarten. This, according to Minister of Justice Anna Richardson, as she announced on Wednesday that this is part of a market study aimed at identifying potential suppliers. A market study will commence in February 2024 to identify potential local and international companies interested in participating in the bidding process for the construction of the new prison facility, Richardson said in a press release issued on Wednesday afternoon. Both the Ministry of Justice and UNOPS are committed to ensuring widespread dissemination of information, enabling local companies to familiarize themselves with the UNOPS procurement process and engage in the solicitation. According to Richardson, this competitive and transparent approach will afford equal opportunities for participation for both local and international suppliers. She further announced that the comprehensive design process for the upgraded St. Maarten prison facilities is well underway, with completion expected by May 2024 as per the project timeline. Last October's successful procurement process resulted in substantial savings on the initial budgeted cost for the new prison, ensuring prudent management of public funds, she said. Tell that to some countries I know, some other islands. Following a meticulous selection process overseen by UNOPS, CSI Engineers has been entrusted with the contract, and I believe these are from Uruguay, to design the phased construction of the new Point Blanche prison and house of detention facilities. And of course, the enhanced features encompass the various crucial amenities, including a pretrial ward, improved male and female wards, educational facilities, health consultation rooms, dental facilities, psychologists, recreational areas, staff facilities, and heightened security measures featuring panoramic and static cameras, she said. She emphasized the paramount importance of safety and affirmed that the new prison project will elevate St. Maarten's detention facilities to the highest regional standards while effectively addressing local needs. The design of rule of law facilities is financed by the Ministry of Home Affairs and Kingdom Relations of the Government of the Netherlands, with a budget of approximately $4 million. The project's first phase, commenced in the first quarter of 2023, is progressing as scheduled and is expected to span 20 months in total, Minister Richardson said. The subsequent phase will involve the construction of the new infrastructure. Yes, good stuff. Something good is happening on St. Martin. And not because they're prisoners. They also deserve somewhere of proper standards. So I'm very proud, of course, this government that will soon be no more because of the new 2x4 government or whatever you call it there in St. Martin, the United People's Party along with the National Alliance Coalition government. This happened under their watch and, of course, under the vision and directorship and leadership, rather, of Minister Anna Richardson. Yeah? Well, folks, that's our news for this morning. It's going to be a lovely and blessed weekend. You have to claim those things, right? Just claim it. And do join me again on Monday morning for a similar presentation. THG News Today, of course, is sponsored by Carl & Sons on St. Martin. I am Mervyn Hanley, wishing you a wonderful day.